What's up, everybody? So Jakara here again. So this is going to be a book review, I guess extended book review, not the 1 minute one, for Pebbles in My Shoes, by Nikita Oliver. Like I said, special edition copy. Actually, it's really cool because so this is the book and how it came, and then I finished it in the fall, and then this is a letter that came with it. And it's pretty cool. So she kind of talks about where she was when she was writing it, explains a little about 2018. Um, and she was actually out of the country, I think, when she wrote this part of it. So, but yeah, it's really cool. And I've always kept the letter, I always keep it in the book. Since I was done reading the book, I just said on myself. But it's a really cool book, and I wanted to review it. And I think when I was younger, I was definitely more into I was into poetry, but definitely kind of starting to get back into it. I am going to be reading another poetry book by somebody who I actually do know personally. And his work's also been he published it through a publishing press. So whenever we get there, we will get there. But anyway, let's talk about this book. So again, this book, if you know anything about Nikita Oliver, like I had said earlier in the video I posted, she is she's super great. She is social justice. She ran for mayor. I mean, she went to law school. She helps youth get through the jail system in King County. She's trying to shut down the prison that's being built in Seattle for youth, and kind of basically trying to change the way how everything works. She's just all around super dope, super great human, like, a fighter if there was one. Super vocal, very talented. She does spoken word. She's been on music tracks. Like, she's done a lot of stuff. She's super cool. If you don't know about Nikita Oliver, you should definitely learn about her. Look her up. She's great. But this book specifically, um, I took my notes on my phone from back when I was reading it. So we're just gonna go through some of them, poems that I read through that were like more of my favorites. Like I said, the whole book is good, and I think people will choose different. Certain poems will hit more closer to home for certain people when they read it, but all the poems are good, really. Like, they legitimately are good. I will not keep saying that. This is a great book of poetry to read. I was very happy to read it. And honestly, I didn't expect anything less because Nikita Oliver is like just so great, and she's the shit. That's all you can say. She's just a powerful ass, independent black woman who does whatever she needs to do for her community and doesn't let herself to get stepped on. So that's all I can describe as her. But I think the first one for me, and I'll probably go through 3 or 4, so y'all don't have to worry. Like, this book review is not going to be probably that long, just because her book isn't. Again, it's only about 70-ish pages, but there's great quality material in here to read. But the first one is I think, let's see, page 34, and sometimes when you're reading these poems, or at least when you read the titles of them, you can kind of get a sense of what she's going to talk about, but then you keep going. So page 34 is the first one I'll start on. There we go. So this one is called How to Be Angry Without Drowning or Burning, and I'm going to read them because they're short enough, but because they're not well, most of them aren't that long. How to be angry without drowning or burning. No one wants to be angry. No one wants to be burned at a stake of someone else's choosing. No one wants to lug hot coals in their backpack and take them to school, try to make room for them on the bus, store them in their locker without burning the whole place down. Sometimes you want to burn this whole place down. Sometimes it is a brief madness. It is a heavy beating on your heart. It is your fire. It is fire to your soul, smoke in your head. The gathering of clouds before the storm, before the rain, before the levee breaks. You must learn to swim. It will break. There will be floods outside of your control. There will be disasters, some natural and unplanned, some concocted and perverse. But you must learn to swim. If you are at first angry, breathe. Give breath to your fire, but be sure it is not wind. Do not blow your flame across plains you cannot save. But do breathe, feel your breath, feel the places you cannot reach, the place you cannot speak without torrent, cannot be without dulge, without cascade, without stream. But do not dam yourself up. Just breathe. When the clouds take your brother, When they pigeonhole his backside, a hiding place for their bullets, you cannot lose control. You cannot make gunpowder your bedfellow, but you can make it your friend. You cannot sleep with fire, but it can keep you warm. In the midst of the storm, there's rage. Let it pour, but do not swallow. Do not let your lungs fill with regret, lest you cannot speak your peace. You must breathe. You need breath to speak, truth to power. When the cops take your sister and no one says her name, no one comes to the march, no funeral dirges their pain for her last breath. Do not mutilate your insides to hide your anger. Do not worry if they fear your fire. Do not worry if they feel your grief. Do not worry if they see your rage. They say if you kick a stone in anger, you will hurt your foot. But what if you kick a cop, a judge, a prosecutor, a good-for-nothing politician? Kick a liar, kick a thief, kick a murderer. Right out the force, right out the court, right out the office, right in the streets. Be angry. And remember to breathe. Remember the storm. Remember the flood. Remember the levee. Remember the break. Remember to swim. Eventually the waters will recede. The fires will have burnt up all that stood in its way. And there will be you, still, breathing, breathing, breathing. Give breath to your anger, but do not blow yourself away. So that one I kind of resonated with me because if you are somebody who works in social justice work, or somebody who might be starting to get into it and learning about all these things that, these great inequities that we have in our society and how people are treated based on their gender, their race, their religion, sexual orientation, things like that. This is very good because I feel like this poem speaks very much to how people can get burnt out. And people get burnt out from things that they work in, but also personal experiences as well. So it's a good reminder. I think that for me in this poem, it's like you have to learn how to channel all that energy that you have inside where you might be angry and you might want to react in a certain way. But the best thing that you can do is really try to turn that energy into and I don't even think that people say positive, but it doesn't have to be positive. It just has to be constructive energy that you have going towards a cause or something that you're actually doing. So that poem's really good. That's probably one of her longer poems. Not all of the poems are that long. And let's see, another one for me. So I think this one. This one is about Stephon Clark, and this one just really resonated with me because it was, I think when she was writing this, and even when I actually finally read this still isn't that far away from when Stephon Clark was unjustly killed at his grandmother's house by police officers, shot over 20 times. But here it is. Stephon Clark. It is 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning, and Stephon Clark still has not resurrected for church, where his grandmother cups her hands around prayers that cannot be answered. Ask questions that will not be answered. Sometimes prayer is the only answer when we do not understand the reasons why. The police have no reasons why they keep killing us. It is 10 a.m. on Sunday morning, and two black men in Starbucks, surrounded by white people drinking black coffee, are the center of attention. Once again, we are the target. We are the hashtag. We are the ones the police are called to come get. Back in the day is the present time. We get used to, but we shouldn't, because it is wrong. It is 10 a.m. on Sunday morning, and Starbucks issues an apology. For one day, they will close their doors, will gather their employees to study the reasons why we are always a target. They can't seem to see, but can always find ways to attack. It is 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. Beyonce does some shit in Coachella, and the interwebs go crazy about how black she is, and I wonder if this what they want us to do. Commodify ourselves until we can't tell the difference between performance art and us being black in real life. It is 10 a.m. on Sunday morning, and I just want to sleep. Dig myself in under this man laying next to me. Breathes in deep, but does not release his breath. Reminds me of how much we are holding in every minute is unknown for us in our bodies. In our brown skin, his more chocolate than mine, and I want to hide him in my ribcage. It is 10 a.m. on Sunday morning, and a pastor somewhere says God made Eve from one of Adam's ribs, and I want to give it back to him. I want to give myself to him. I wonder if together we are more complete. Wonder if completion will make us safer, or if together we are even more of a threat. It is 10 a.m. on Sunday morning, and Stephon Clark still has not resurrected for church, and neither do I. I think this is very important because not only does it talk about Stephon Clark's situation, but it also talks about the different levels of, we live in an age now where, racism is not so overt, but it is, I mean, more people are becoming overt about it, don't get me wrong, but in many, many ways it's covert and has been like that for a long time, because, people think after civil rights, racism just ended. That is far from the truth, and there's tons of progress to be made, and it's still being made very slowly, especially in the environment we are in now, and, the current administration that is leading the country. So that was something that resonated with me, and again talks about, also how people look at TV and see black people versus what everyday black people are living. And I, by in no means do I think that's a hit from, Nikita on Beyonce, because I'm a huge Beyonce fan. If you didn't know, I love Beyonce. But again, what higher profile black people are facing is much different from everyday black people, and that is not the experience of easily over the majority of black people in this country, that they're not getting this glam and being looked at this way. So the ones who are higher profile, and so the everyday black people have much more struggles and things that they face. So let's see, trying to think. Let's see. Like I said, honestly, even out of all the poems that were in the book, there was still a lot that I wrote down because I liked all of them. But again, I'm only going to go through 3 on here. And after that, I will leave you all until the next. I'm going to have another book review up really soon because I have finished another book, but I'll save that to let you all know what it is. Oh, okay. This one was really good because it calls about it's about men and women, and it's about dating. So let me read this. Man spits game, queen is unamused. He who spits a lot of game is probably playing a game. He calls it keeping it real, says I'm just being honest, just telling it like it is. Admits to being shameless and having no filter. Laughs when you blush, red, you. Tongue-tied innocence, begs you not to hold back. The truth on your lips is not so free. It is not so is not so man, it is not so easily digested. Is not flipped like chips in a poker game, will not win you any points or props. Will make man spitting game forget he was playing. Now watch man spit fire. Man plays ownership like battleship. If he cannot have it, he gonna blow it up, blame you for being too real. Too honest, just telling it like it is, being shameless and having no filter, laughs when you brush. Off his red like no is a joke, like no is an antic, a wisecrack. In his sense of humor tries to make you a one-liner, parody your words into a question like no. Is an invitation to keep playing man wants, to untie your tongue into his answer like this is a game. With no rules and you are a not pawn, he must not know you are the queen. You move where you want. So I just think this is very good. Like, this is, to me, very, in a lot of ways, again, not to generalize men, but I think a lot of men sometimes do this with women's emotions. I think it's good because, men will say, oh, you can be honest and that's fine, everything. But then again, when you have, like, especially stronger, independent women who decide to be honest, men don't always like what they're going to get from that. So I just really like this. It's a very good perspective to me. And it's just, honestly, I think it's great because a lot of women these days aren't dealing with guys' bullshit as they shouldn't. Because we do still live in a man's world in many ways. There's been progress, but we are still behind the 8 ball in a lot of ways, especially when we look at other countries and stuff. But that was another one of my favorite poems. I thought it was great. Loved to see a liberation of women and basically women telling guys how it is, especially once they ask and they're not expecting it. So that is the last poem I'm going to share, the last poem I read. Like I said, this book of poetry is really good. She talks mostly about social justice stuff with the rest of her with a lot of the poetry that's in here, but then she gets into more of those personal things. Sometimes she talks about stuff more personal to her. She also talks about the dating scene and relationships like that and stuff too. Like I said, It's a great book. Nikita has also done music with I think she's very close friends with him. His name is Rel Be Free. He's a rapper. She's done music with him, and I actually got to see her sing live at Bellevue College. So she is very, very, very talented. Just all around powerful, intelligent, like black woman who is, just doing her thing and unapologetic about it. And I mean, who doesn't love to see that? Well, I guess there are some people who don't like to see that, but I love to see it. Like I said, please check out her books. Check out her book, Pebbles in My Shoes. I don't know if she has another book of poetry yet, but like I said, she does spoken word. I'm sure you can find it online too. But check her out. This is a great book. And you're also, supporting somebody who does so much great work in the King County community, and specifically in Seattle, and helping youth, like I said, operate the jail system, keeping youth out of jail, educating people, and stuff like that. She also does a lot of work as a pro bono lawyer. So, go check her book out. If you have a chance to buy it, please do it. You're supporting a great cause, a great person who's supporting a bunch of other great causes. And I think that's a lot of, if you're into social justice and you're into all that, that is part of the battle, supporting those people who push forward all this great work and who are trailblazers for other generations after them who are coming up. So Pebbles in My Shoes, go check it out. It's a great book. And if you like watching my book reviews, please like and subscribe, and leave a comment if you feel like, and I will see you on the next book review. Thank you all for watching.